It's Cricbuzz chatter for the final time in the England-West Indies series. Adam Collins here, Michael Vaughan there. England victorious by 269 runs. So for the first time since the 19th century, Vaughanie, England have gone 1-0 at home and they've won the series 2-1, which isn't for nothing given all the circumstances around the biosecure venue and so forth.
No, it's never easy coming from 1-0 behind in a three-match series. You know that one bad session, one bad day on that second and third test match, you can't win the series. So full credit to the England side. They've played with great discipline, skill. They've played the test match way over the last 2 weeks with the bat in hand. They've played for batting time, batting the overs, just getting a score in the first innings, and with the ball in hand they've just tried to bowl dots. They've had conditions, the ball's been moving around, and when you've got the likes of Broad and Anderson, Wokes in these conditions against the West Indies batting lineup that doesn't have a great deal of experience, and they certainly don't have the confidence of huge batting averages, and you would argue that placing the likes of Anderson and Broad in these conditions is as hard as test match cricket can get. So no surprise on the results, but full credit for the England side, particularly the last 2 weeks.
Stuart Broad continued and completed an immaculate performance across the innings with bat and ball. Finishes with 4 in the second dig, 10 for the match and 500 for his career. Just the fourth seamer in Test cricket to reach that mark. In terms of balls bowled, the third quickest ever we had on the live blog today. And he went from 400 wickets to 500 wickets, averaging 22 across 7 countries. I mean, he's getting better with age.
Yeah, he seems to be. He likes his red wine. He's very similar. He's been wonderful in the last 2 weeks. It's his paces. He's been bowling around 85 miles an hour. To play for 13 years at international level, playing test match cricket, it takes a huge amount of longevity, resilience, obviously skill, changing little things in your game over the years to make sure that you're surprising the opponents every now and again. The amount that you have to sacrifice as a human, to go away. I know it's a great job that we're all involved in, but as a player for 13 years to continuously get out of bed as a bowler. I mean, I was fortunately just getting out of bed as a batsman, and it was sometimes hard, but as a bowler they must go through so much more. So huge amount of respect for Stuart Broad. I just wonder whether him and Jimmy are privately having a conversation. Jimmy's already beyond Glenn McGrath and is the leading seam bowler in test match cricket history. From an English perspective, wouldn't it be great if Stuart Broad can surpass that 5-6-3 of Glenn McGrath, and the top 2 seam bowlers in the test match cricket history can be 2 English bowlers? I wouldn't rule that out.
Their careers have mirrored each other, but it's worth noting, of course, and Broad made this point strongly between the test matches, he's actually 4 years younger than Jimmy. He may well go on to take 600. I mean, who knows where he might finish? He's fit as a fiddle.
Yeah, he is. I think he's worked hard on that side of his game as well, and whenever they decide to call it a day, it'll be absolutely right, because both those players will make it their own call. I don't think they're going to get shoved out of the way. I think Chris Silverwood will be privately and quietly trying to get them to play as long as possible, because it's going to be one big hole for English cricket to try and fill when you've got all that experience, that know-how, the intimidation that they must bring on the opposing batting lineups, particularly when they know they're going to have to face Anderson and Broad with the Duke ball. It's how they manage it now, the England selectors and obviously the management, because They would like to play them in every game, I guess, having seen what they've seen this week, but they've also got to have half an eye on the future. And what happens if next summer, both of them with the big crowds here against India, well, hopefully we can get back to that, they both decide to disappear and say goodbye to the game, and no one would be able to say anything other than they're making the right call whenever they make that call. So English cricket has got a duty to make sure that they're looking after the here and now, but also the future, just in case both of those two decide to call it a day at once, because that's going to be very, very difficult for the England team to replace.
In terms of what they did today, it was the quiet beater, wasn't it? It was Chris Wokes who goes and takes 5 for 50 in one long spell, broken up by several rain delays and the lunch break. They ended up bowling out the West Indies for 129, but Chris Wokes, 3 leg befores in the middle of that spell as well, bowls stump to stump, gets it to nibble away, jag back in. I mean, he's the perfect bowler for England conditions, and he complements Broad and Anderson so magnificently.
Yeah, he does. Look, they're a nice band to have, aren't they? Those 4 quicks that played this week. It's a hard bowling attack to face. Chris Wokes is reliable, a wonderful team member. He's probably so nice he's easy to leave out, and that's probably what the selectors like in a funny way. It's always nice to have 1 or 2 that you can go and knock on the door of and know that they're going to take it okay. But I just wonder if over the next 2 years, 3 years, however long that great partnership carries on, Can he take over from one of them eventually? Can he be that? The most promising thing that I've seen from England this week is that they've won a game of cricket convincingly, and Ben Stokes has done absolutely nothing other than drop a catch. So there you go. England can win without Ben Stokes. I think that's really promising for the team.
Yeah, and even Don Best didn't bowl in either innings, but executed a direct hit run out, made 18 not out. So they all kind of played a role at some point along the way. Vaughnie, you articulated nicely yesterday the gratefulness and the gratitude, I should say, that English cricket should have for the West Indies. In terms of their performance on the field, it still kind of feels like they missed a trick bowling first in both the second test match and the third test match. It put their batting line up under so much pressure later in both of those rubbers.
Yeah, they should have batted first here, no question. You play two spinners, you have to bat first. Jason got that one wrong, but you know, I've been saying for the last half an hour on radio and television, you know, the whole of the world game owes a huge amount to the West Indies. When you think that they've come over here, they've taken a 50% pay cut to come over and play in this series. Not only does English cricket owe them a massive amount, I don't know how and when they can pay them back, but, you know, I just look at, you know, the Caribbean in particular, they're desperately in need of new facilities, new training facilities for the grassroots side of their game. And surely now it's time for the massive money that gets created through cricket globally, through the ICC, particularly those three big powerhouses at the top of the chain. Surely they've got to drip feed some of that money, particularly to the Caribbean, because of what they've achieved over the last few weeks. So they'll be on the plane at 6 a.m. Carlos Brathwaite, who's been working with us, will be on that plane, and I've already said to him, Carlos, make sure they're having plenty of rum, because we in England owe them a massive amount for what they've delivered over the last few weeks.
Well said, Vaughnie. Now let's go into the hotspot. Quickly in the hotspot before we go, we've now had 3 test matches in a biosecure venue. What's your verdict on the entire process from conception to completion of this series? Did it work, and is it the model for the future?
Well, it certainly works. I hope it isn't something that we have to do too much in the future, because I hope the world can get back to some kind of normality, and we need crowds, we need that atmosphere. But, you know, in terms of what the ECB and the West Indies board have delivered over the last 3 test matches, I don't think it could have gone any better. The cricket's been very good, it's been competitive. It's been strange living at a cricket ground. It's felt like we've been in the Big Brother house with cameras all over us, watching us, listening to everything that we've had to say. But we've got through it. The players that I look at have delivered an incredible standard of cricket. When you think they've been locked into hotels overlooking cricket venues for the last 7 weeks, they've had nothing else to look at or do other than play cricket, practice cricket, talk cricket. They've had a little bit of golf down at the Ageas Bowl, but the players deserve a huge amount of credit for the standard of cricket that they've created over the last few test matches.
And as we press fast forward, Vaughnie, the good news is there's so much more cricket to come. 3 one-days against Ireland, but then 3 more test matches against Pakistan. And whenever they come out to England, it's a fantastic contest.
Yeah, it is. And Pakistan, you know, they're a wonderful team. They've got the skill levels with the ball in hand. Yasir Shah, obviously the leg spinner. Babar Azam and Azhar Ali, with 2 right-handed batsmen of high quality who know how to play in English conditions. But if Pakistan bat first, and I'm sure that's their plan, and get scores on the board, they'll really challenge this England side. From an English perspective, it's a good step up. I'm not disregarding the West Indies at all, but you know, Pakistan are a better test match team than the West Indies, so I'm really looking forward to that series. It should be a ripper. Pakistan could come here and shot the England team, but the England side play like they did in that first test match in Southampton. I just think maybe the last 2 weeks in particular, the discipline element has probably been driven into this England team so much by Joe Root and Chris Silverwood. I'd be surprised if the performance levels drops back to what we saw in Southampton.
The end of a most interesting and captivating series between England and the West Indies. Let's hope it gets better as we work through the summer. We've got Pakistan in a couple of weeks, and Vaughnie, we'll be back on Cricbuzz Chatter as well. It's been a lot of fun. Thanks for all your comments and people watching throughout the course of the series. With Adam Collins and Michael Vaughan, this has been Cricbuzz Chatter. Let's do it again sometime soon.